Nearly 3 decades after the murder of legendary rapper Tupac Shakur, authorities have searched a Las Vegas home in connection to his killing.
To this day, Tupac's murder remains unsolved, and this update has been called a major development in the case. Joining us to discuss are ABC News contributors Mike Muse and Brian Buckmire. Mike, let's start with you. So this search warrant was executed just miles from where Tupac was murdered at the home of a man named Dwayne Davis, who goes by Keefe D. He actually appeared in a 2018 BET documentary series called Death Row Chronicles. What do we know about him? What led to all this?
What we know about him was that he was actually in the white Cadillac that pulled alongside Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight's car on that evening that Tupac was murdered. And what we know is that he says that he knows who shot Tupac. And what he said in that documentary was that it came from the back seat. But he wouldn't go further to name the individual, but there were only 2 people in the back seat, one of which is his cousin, Orlando Anderson. Many believe that he was the actual shooter, allegedly, due to an altercation that Tupac and Orlando had in the lobby of the hotel. But what we now know is that he has died 2 years later due to gang-related incidents. So there is a connection between Keefe Davis and the individual who possibly may have pulled the trigger based upon what Keefe Davis said in the backseat.
So, Brian, the search happened last week. What did police uncover, and what does it mean for the investigation?
Yeah, so DeMarco, the police were looking after basically any materials in connection to what Davis had said in interviews, movies, documentaries, and what they were able to obtain were a number of electronic devices, laptops, tablets, USBs. They actually even got some .40 caliber cartridges. But the important part and the groundbreaking part of this is, what does it take to get a search warrant? In this conversation, particularly 2 things. You need to have probable cause, which is trustworthy information given to an officer that leads them to believe a crime occurred, and particularities or specificity. So someone told them there's information in those drives that are in connection to a crime, and they were able to convince a judge of that to give them a search warrant. That's why this appears to be such a big move in this case.
And Mike, you mentioned this. It's long been believed that Tupac's killer is dead. So what are investigators looking for at this point?
So we have to look at it from a two-space perspective. One is what they say, code of the street, and then one within the court justice of the law. And so the code of silence, no one didn't want to say anything because allegedly they wanted to handle themselves, but that doesn't mean that justice was served. And so because of the fact that nobody was actually prosecuted in the court of law, this case is not solved. And I think that the family deserves, the family of Tupac Shakur deserves justice. They deserve to have people held accountable. They deserve to have their day in court. And if individuals has been an accomplice or any way tied to this case, then they should be punished by the court of law. And I think that gives closure to Tupac Shakur's family, but also to the fans of Tupac as well, so that we can close this case, because this has been such a folklore for so long and a debate for so long.
Yeah, Brian, nearly 30 years again, and this is a major breakthrough right here. But how likely are we to see charges?
DeMarco, this is a hard thing to analyze because we don't know what they found within those drives and within those laptops. This is a case about what people know. As Mike already alluded to, this code of silence, people know something. We know that Davis knows something, but is that information found in his drive? Are they able to press charges against him and maybe lean on him to give information to at least give some level of information that they can present to a jury, maybe get a conviction? I think we don't know quite yet the numbers of how likely we're going to see a conviction, but I think we're definitely walking towards that path now that we have a search warrant and more information is being dug into.
Mike, we can't talk about Tupac without talking about his legacy and the hole he left in the music world.
Tupac was such a unique artist. Tupac was a Renaissance man. Tupac went to the Baltimore School of Performing Arts. Tupac was a dancer. Tupac's mother was a Black Panther. She was a political activist. She defended herself in court alone, and she was found not guilty. So she had a strong constitution that she taught him. He was a poet, a writer, and when you combine all that constitution, you can't help get the music that we have now, and this is why his legacy lives on posthumously, because when you you mix all that together, he created incredible art, and art is forever.
A genius at his young age.
Very young age,
yeah.
25, and we're still talking about him to this day. That's rare we still talk about artists at that time.
Yeah, you think of all the things that he could have written still. Mike Muse, Brian Buckmire, our thanks to both of you.
Thanks, guys.
Good to see you guys.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.